I mentioned it briefly in my recent newsletter, how we actually seem to have a government right now that is trying to make sure America is positioned to lead in the AI game, in the AI space, if you will. And we're trying to encourage through a lot of means, actually, less policy restrictions and more, and even I think lower tariffs are targeted towards the materials needed to bring in for these data centers. So what is that going to mean for the American people as we create more data centers?
I mean, obviously, building a data center is an enormous demand shock to any community for kind of labor, for resources, for bringing those materials in. So construction is one of the most GDP positive activities that we do in our economy, building kind of commercial facilities, building industrial facilities, building residential kind of houses and apartments. That is a huge boost to GDP. And so I think no doubt near-term positive shock as that infrastructure gets put into place, that demand lift kind of diminishes over time. Obviously there's still some labor demand when it goes to operating and maintaining those centers for maintenance and repair. Obviously the energy infrastructure that kind of goes to power those is an ongoing source of labor demand as well. I think perhaps like the more interesting part of the AI data center is how it's spilled over to other parts of the economy. I'm talking to local business leaders up here in Western Washington. They talk about how the boom in data center building in Eastern Washington pulled a lot of skilled electricians and kind of skilled laborers kind of over the mountains to work on those. And that kind of pulled labor away from residential construction here. Fortunately, kind of it came at a time when residential construction was in a little bit of a lull because of high interest rates. So, in some ways, kind of that was able to offset kind of weaknesses in labor demand and keep those folks working. I guess the question is now what happens after construction is done. Where do those folks go next? Particularly if housing and residential construction stays a little bit in a funk like it's been.